Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session of Kaiju Deep Dive. We are on Kaiju Galaxy Reunion, so that means that Kaiju Galaxy members are going to be filing in and out of here. We can only have six. We can only have like 6 people. So depending on how many people tune in, we may actually have to like kind of switch people around. If that's the case, I'll let you know if that occurs. So. Just throwing that out there for you. If you are tuning in via the chat, we are also monitoring the chat box as well. So feel free to type in some comments if you have any questions or if you would just like to chat with us. Because even though like I'm trying to keep it a little bit structured, I do just want this to be casual conversation because for many of you, I've not seen you in a long time, and we were supposed to see each other at G-Fest, but that didn't happen, and you know, all of that jazz. So my name is Donny Winter on Kaiju Galaxy. I go as Eternal Mothra, which is why I have the little EM next to my name. With me, I have Maddie, who goes by GMAT, Ellen, who goes by Kiru, and then Arpy, who goes by Lincoln Glambert on Kaiju Galaxy. So how are you all doing today? Feel free to chime in. How are you doing?
Well, I'm just fine. Thank you.
Good. Ellen, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I got 4 narrations done for reviews.
You have been rocking it out with the narrations for your personal YouTube channel. I think that's pretty awesome. I'm kind of jelly. I aim for that level of creativity.
My goal is to do more than 2 videos this year. I think I can do it.
Would you like to do a plug for that channel and direct people there if they would like to go subscribe to it?
Yes. I think I'll just bring the channel link up that's on the Facebook page, which I can also link the Facebook page. It's called Machine Dragon's Lair.
Yes. Good. So we'll have that linked on the Facebook page. So yeah, you can also post it in the comments too. That should work perfectly. But like it's a channel that's focused mostly on just reviews, correct? Or do you plan on doing other types of content too?
Right now it's just reviews, but I have a bunch of other stuff planned, like tokusatsu and kaiju related news, my own music, possible cover music in the future, and then hopefully some interviews as well.
Yes. Good. That sounds like a good balance.
Yeah.
Maddie, well, first, before I ask that question, Arpy, can you hear us yet? I don't know if you can hear us. I can't hear you, unfortunately. If you can in the chat box, let us know how you're doing, if possible. So far, we have Igni tuning in. Hello. Igni says, I'm not able to watch the stream today. Out now. I'll try to watch it later. That's totally okay. So if you can't tune in right now, after these are done processing, these get posted and you'll be able to watch through them and leave comments if you'd like. Red Griffin is here. It's good to see you. Also sad that I'm not getting to see you at G-Fest this year too. So, Maddie, I do have a question for you as well. Have you been doing anything with your music lately? Because I know you're very proficient with composition and instrumentation. Like, have you posted anything lately, or?
Well, no, but actually now I have been trying to do this new piece because because um, um,
How about now? Can you guys?
Oh, I can hear you, Arpy. I heard you. Anyway, what were you saying, GMAT? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, one of my friends is uh, is uh, is 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 uh, uh, is is getting married soon. So I thought that I would make this new music piece a- as a gift for him.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah,
Kind of gives like a personal touch, right?
yeah, and actually, we both happen to be uh, film music fans, so I thought it would be appropriate as a gift.
So it's kind of like something you guys bond over, so it's kind of applicable. That's really cool. I like that. It looks like RP got kicked off.
Ah,
I'm going to just type in here. So RP's trying to log back on. Yeah, I don't know if RP's device is connecting properly. So to keep our conversation going now that we've just, caught up on how we're all doing, so on and so forth. So obviously, one thing that a lot of people are really excited about right now is Godzilla versus Kong, which has been delayed to next year, understandably so, considering everything that's been going on. I thought it was a pretty good decision to make because we don't want something that's rushed and a hot mess, right? So my big question for you guys is, what are your biggest hopes and wishes for that film? I know that's a big question.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just don't want it to be delayed again. I'm kind of not excited for it because of all this pandemic and whatnot.
Yeah. I can understand that because I'm kind of thinking, like, what if things continue and don't end? Is it going to get delayed again? I have this irrational fear of, oh God, it's not going to get scrapped entirely, is it? I don't think that would happen. They have a lot of investment in it. Like Legendary has a lot of investment in it, so I don't think that would happen. But Maddie, what do you think?
Well, I don't really know. Well, I guess I'm just hoping that the that 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 the final fight between them is going to be well 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 as long and 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 satisfying as they can possibly make it.
I agree because, well, don't get me wrong. I also thought that the final battle for King of the Monsters, I thought that was pretty satisfying. Although, my gripe, there could have been more Mothra and Rodan, but that's just me.
Yeah.
But I would really like to see, if they do decide to incorporate more, kaiju in it, I would like to see them more in the same scenes together. Because in King of the Monsters, we see, there were literally 4 of them in a battle, right? But you would only see a couple of them at a time. I would like to see all of them in some way. That would be kind of refreshing to see. But I mean, I know there might be budgetary constraints, so on and so forth. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But are there any other hopes that you have by any chance?
I would like something to happen with Kevin's head. The King Ghidorah, the King Ghidorah from the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
I would like. You can't tell me that they chose to include, like, they didn't choose to include that for a reason. Like, I do believe that that's going to have some influence. Like, I know I've seen some people say, well, maybe they're going to have a Mecha King Ghidorah in it, or maybe they're going to have like some sort of Mecha Godzilla based on like King Ghidorah's regenerative capabilities. I mean, at this point, it's just conjecture and just random ideas, you know. We'll have to wait and see. What was that?
It could be a whole new King Ghidorah as well, because this one's based on a Hydra, and it can regrow from anything unless it's just completely destroyed.
Right. And for all we know, they could just maybe completely invent an original kaiju too, like that isn't, you know, anything related to those.
And actually, about that, back in like last year, I even read that some people were guessing that they were somehow going to make Bagan.
Really?
Yeah, but yeah, because he was actually somehow created from the genes of King Ghidorah in the Super Godzilla game, I think.
Oh, that's interesting. I can't remember that off the top of my head, but I wouldn't be surprised. And the truth is that has been a kaiju that so many fans have wanted to see over the years. There have been, what, 2 or 3 movies that have been based around this creature, but never made. Like, it's like kind of like, it has like this very, very strong support and love. So, that would be really cool. Ellen, what do you think about that? Would you like to see Dagan in this film potentially? Like, would that be something practical for them to incorporate?
Slightly unpopular opinion, but I'm not as into Bagan as most other people are, but like I'd be interested in it. I would foresee a lot of excited flailing, the likes of which not even Donny himself could achieve if it comes to fruition.
1 second. Getting an error. I keep trying to add RP to the thing and it's not letting me. It's giving me an error message. But let's see. I like when it comes to Began, I am kind of like hit or miss. Like remember yesterday when I was like doing that stream talking about that fanfic that I really love? That fanfic was by C.L. Werner, is completely based on that character. So I kind of used to be super obsessed with it, but now as I've grown, I'm kind of like, it's cool, but I have moments where I'm like, is it overhyped? Is it not? So on and so forth. So I think it would be really cool to finally see some sort of representation of him, but I don't know if that'll happen, because the truth is, beyond kaiju fans themselves, I don't really think people outside of our fandom is super familiar with that character at all whatsoever, right? Because the character's never been in a film. So I'm willing to bet that they're probably going to do like a King Ghidorah 2.0 or another character that people at least may recognize the name of, like a Mechagodzilla character, for example.
By the way, Griffin is on my side.
Griffin's not a fan of Dagon either. Griffin also said, what was it? What was my question? I forgot.
What
Kong surviving.
hope for the movie?
So you hope that Kong survives. I hope that, like, honestly, I hope that both characters survive. I hope that it's not about like who wins or who doesn't win. I really believe that they might join forces against something else. Feasibly, the big bad or whoever it'll be. In the film. So hopefully we'll get that.
I think there's a divide among the fandom about that because, like, I've seen enough people myself on a certain forum saying, "Oh, if it's just Godzilla and Kong fight once or twice and then become allies against a bigger bad guy, I'm gonna be so disappointed."
I don't know what your stances are on that. I don't understand why people would be super disappointed about that. But because I know a lot of people feel like this weird tension about them being pitted against one another. But those are the people that I see. I'm sure there are people that I don't talk to, that I don't get to see comments by, who do want to see something substantial between the two. So do you two want that, or what do you want out of this battle, this pairing between these two iconic characters?
I'm interested in seeing who wins this time, if there is a definitive winner, because like the teaser art does say one will fall. So I'm interested to see how Godzilla's popularity and Kong's popularity have shifted over the years.
Right, yeah. It'll be interesting.
Griffin also says Kong surviving helps the chances of getting another MonsterVerse movie if Legendary somehow doesn't get to make more movies involving Godzilla. That's a good point.
That is a good point. I did not consider that. My biggest hope, and actually this is another one of my questions that I had. My question was, one of my questions was, do you think the MonsterVerse will continue afterward? And I personally hope that it does. I would like to see solo films of some of these characters. Like in you know me being the super duper Mothra fan gay that I am, I want to see a solo film. I want to see a solo film of her, a solo film of Rodan, so on and so forth. I don't know if we'll get that. It would be nice if we did, but we'd honestly have to see. How do you envision the MonsterVerse continuing on afterward? So Griffin thinks that maybe more installments of Kong. What do you two think?
Being a solo film club.
Yes. So you're on my side with the solo film thing.
Yeah.
What about you, Maddie?
Well, I think that I'm pretty much on the same side as you guys. I think I would especially like to see like solo films for monsters that we haven't seen in a while.
Like, for example?
Well, actually, one of my favorites is actually Varen.
Aha. Yes. Severely underrated too, in my opinion.
Mm.
And I always feel like his film originally, like if you compare it to like a lot of fans kind of forget about his film. Just makes
It
me
is pretty
sad.
forgettable.
Yeah, I mean if you compare it to the other like original films, it doesn't draw the audience in. I think the story is a little bit hit or miss.
Yeah.
I would love to see another iteration of that character, very much so.
Mm.
I don't know if the MonsterVerse would ever incorporate anything like that, but Griffin also said that since Mothra got her own trilogy before, there is also a chance for another solo film.
Exactly.
I would hope so too. However, in my mind, like if you look at the name, like how a name carries, like Godzilla and Kong obviously have like a lot of power to their name, especially among Western audiences, right? I don't know if Mothra has that same level of strength to her name, if that makes sense. I feel like people are rather familiar with her, but I feel like a solo film would be more successful for Mothra if it were released by Toho.
I guess.
That's just my stance on that because I know Mothra has a much larger fan base in Japan and all across Asia. So
Yeah.
that's just something sad that I've had to admit to over the past few years. Because in my ideal world of denial, everyone's a Mothra fan and they should be a Mothra fan. I am basically I will knock on people's doors for that. So
Hello, and have you heard of our Lord and Savior Mothra?
exactly.
Let me play you the song of my people.
Let me sing you the song of my people.
Yeah.
Obnoxiously, of course.
Dressed as Maul.
Doing the gestures and everything.
Yeah.
Yes. When I'm always telling people of, when I was coming out a long time ago. And I always, like, people are always making, like, the derogatory joke about gay people, and they shouldn't. They're like, some gay people are fairies, basically. And I literally tell people, I literally wanted to be a fairy at one point, a Mothra fairy, so don't judge me.
I mean, there's never been a male one yet.
I know, we need to change that.
It's open.
Oh, yeah.
Technically, if you consider fan fiction, there has been male versions. Maddie, I completely forgot to mention When Aliens Attack again at the end of the fan fiction stream last night. My bad. But in that fan fiction, I invented male fairies for Batra. And I was just like, why not do something like this for Batra? Because I honestly can't remember the exact backstory. I can't remember, but I thought it was super interesting because I had like some people collaborating on that with me. So Arpy asks, do you guys think kaiju could coexist with humans? That's a good question. Like if we see it in the films from time to time, right? So, if we look at the coexistence with humans, examining like the Toho films versus the MonsterVerse films, I feel like the MonsterVerse is trying to depict them as being able to coexist with people, whereas I feel like in Toho films there's like a lot of like the survival of the fittest kind of theme going on in a lot of them. So in reality, do I think that they would coexist with humans? I feel like if they were real, I feel like humans would probably want to declare war on kaiju and probably not want to have anything to do with them. But
especially America.
Yeah, I was trying not to say America, but I'm glad you mentioned it in lieu of that.
We're shoot first, ask questions later. That's just
with how much we love to tout our militant force, I have no doubt that we would be like, oh, here is a convenient way for us to practice our military force. Whether that would be successful or not, that is an entirely different conversation.
Yeah.
But But yeah. So what else, like, I mean, if we were to envision future MonsterVerse films, like let's pretend that Godzilla versus Kong is super successful and way more successful than King of the Monsters was. And let's pretend that both of them do survive or they ally up against another big bad. What other films would you like to see featuring both of them, like Kong and Godzilla, or individually?
I wouldn't mind the updated version of King Kong Escapes. So we get Mechanicong and a new Gorosaurus. But like only loose. I've actually never seen that movie.
It's an interesting film. Maddie, have you seen that movie?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Here okay. When I was a teenager, I really hated that film because I thought it was boring as hell. But now that I'm older, I've developed a much stronger appreciation for it, and I find the characters to be very well developed for a kaiju film.
Mm.
And I love the villain. Oh God, what
Oh
was his
yeah.
name? Is his name literally, what was it? Was it Doctor Who?
Yes.
And I believe that same actor went on to play other characters in kaiju films. I think he played in Godzilla, Mothra, Ghidorah, All Out Monsters Attack. I think, didn't he play like that older,
Yep.
like prophetic dude? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Talented actor. Talented actor.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I would love to see some sort of modern iteration of that film. I think that would be really cool. And believe it or not, Gorosaurus, prior to Mothra, was actually my favorite
Oh wow.
kaiju. So I know, how is that even possible, right? Is it even possible for someone loving Mothra this much to have loved another one more? But I think it would be really cool. Very, like, I thought that the conflict was unique in that film. And it's been a long time since I watched it. I think I might give it another watch soon. I don't even think I have it on DVD. I think I have it on VHS still. Probably recorded from a sci-fi channel.
Oh wow.
We won't go far with that though.
When sci-fi showed non-originals.
Right. RP, I did get your message. Yeah, just keep tuned into the chat, and if you have any questions, you can pose those in the chat. Red or Griffin, I keep saying Red Griffin instead of just Griffin. Griffin says that he's seen King Kong Escapes as well. I always thought it was very interesting how Toho in the 60s was like, we're going to play around with Kong for a while and see what we can do with this character. Another one that I would really like to see, I would like to see a new rendition of Godzilla versus Biollante, 100%.
Ah.
Mostly because when that film came out, it wasn't like it, I think the company deemed it as kind of like a flop. I mean, if you look at like the finances and like how much money it made, but now it's like a cult classic Godzilla film. A lot of people love that film because it's very grungy and political, and the practical effects, to me, if you compare it to the other films of that era, were top notch. And it's a very unique concept. I think it would be really cool to reinvent that. But another worry that I have though is if they were to do that, I wouldn't want it to be a complete reinventing of the original film, because I think the original film had an essence to it that made it very special, and I don't want it to lose its clout, if that makes sense. That was a yammer fest. I apologize. What do you guys think? Are there any other like movie scenarios that you would like to see?
Well, I would like to see a film where we would really get to see Mothra and and Godzilla like teaming up against something else.
Right. Like I would like to see definitely more so of a dynamic between the two. We kind of got that in King of the Monsters, but it was very like spotty in my opinion. I feel like there was a lot more potential for interaction between the characters a little bit more. That's just me though. I know the director of that film, Mike Dougherty, said that he is very interested in doing like a prequel movie of Godzilla and those characters in like prehistoric times.
Oh yeah, that's right. He said that. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. I just forgot about it until you mentioned that. And I think it would be really cool to see how their symbiosis began like a long, long time ago. Like how did their like mutual survival become a thing? Because I feel like the collective reaction to it, people were really surprised that they chose to do that with Godzilla and Mothra. And in fact, it even spiraled into people shipping those characters together. I think I'm not one of those people. Like, I don't hate the fact that they do that. If it gets like creepy, then yes. But if it's like cutesy art, I'm all right with it. I'm just like, oh, it's fine. That's fine with me. But really, in all reality, we know that the dynamic between those two were meant to just be like a mutual survival type of thing, right? Ellen, what do you think?
As far as other movies,
or the idea of like a prehistoric film that kind of branches into like the character background.
I'd be up for a prehistoric film. Griffin's also said he would want to see a new Destroy All Monsters, and same here.
Yes, like,
but maybe with a different antagonist.
Maybe not an alien invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was also thinking I'd like to see Gigan and Megalon again.
Yes, for sure. I would also like to see Space Godzilla again. I really feel like, don't get me wrong, I love the film Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. But I feel like they had a lot of potential to make him a much more big, like huge, imposing force beyond just like one film, you know? And I think that it would be really cool to see Godzilla come up against a non-mechanized doppelganger of himself. Again. Not that I don't like Mechagodzilla. I do love Mechagodzilla. But I would, like, if one is invented, say, like in the Monsterverse, I would feel that it would be more of like a Kiryu situation where, like, it's being used to help the protagonist to fight off the big bad or whatever. But yeah, I would love to see Space Godzilla again. Even though, reflecting on it, it was kind of a cheesy idea from the get-go. But... But we love a little cheese from time to time, don't we? Probably me far too much. But so my next big question would be, because we've not really heard a lot, but what do you think is in store for Toho Godzilla films in the future, near future? I love watching your reactions. You both were like...
Whatever Toho decides to do.
Like, I'll be happy with anything. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But they did say that they wanted to create some sort of thing equivalent to like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but with their classic characters, right? So what would you envision them doing for something like that? Or what would you hope that they would do?
Standalone Varon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Solo films. Yeah, like
I
would
think a
love...
lot of solo films and some mashups, like I don't know, Kaiju Avengers, whatever they decide to name it.
Right.
Because like Destroy All Monsters has kind of been done to death. Like we got the movie, we got the video game,
Which was an amazing video
probably
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we have gotten that before. If they like here is my big dilemma. I think that Toho will probably want to capitalize on nostalgia because we know that every big universe is doing that right now. Like every franchise is trying to capitalize on nostalgia. And I think we might get remakes of films. I hope that they might take some creative ingenuity that they had with Shin Godzilla and maybe use that for, like, say, a new Mothra solo film or a new Rodan solo film or a new Varan solo film. Instead of just creating an original, like, not original, but a carbon copy of something that already exists, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Granted, I mean, even if they did do that, I'd still be excited because can you imagine films like, let me think of one. Like Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, but made like with modern like technology, or Godzilla versus Mothra 92, but made with more modern like technology. But then again, I say that because I really want to see Batra again because definitely deserves a little bit more exposure, in my opinion, than just one film.
Yeah. I would like Mothra Leo 2 to also appear in the same universe as Godzilla.
Yes. Yes. You know, it's interesting that you mentioned that because I mean, you both know that I love the Mothra trilogy more than anything. Probably more than anybody ever did. But I always felt that trilogy, like, it ended on a very uplifting note, but it ended on a very open-ended note. And I would like a little bit more, like, I want to know what happens with the characters. I want to know what happens with the Elias, so on and so forth. I've also kind of had a fixation on them continuing the Heisei era Godzilla films. Because those films are the only, aside from maybe the Kiryu saga, are the only like kind of episodic films that we've had where they like pick up where the story leaves off from one film to another. I would love to see what happens to Miki Sagusa. I would love to see what happens to Godzilla Jr. You know, granted, it would really mess up my fanfics because those are all based on connecting the universes. But even Megumi Odaka has said that she would love to reprise her role. And I think that would be an amazing thing to take advantage of on Toho's part.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Heisei Godzilla films are pretty popular. Like, they were, like, financially, they made Toho a lot of money when they came out initially.
And
go ahead.
And I think that with most people when they when they think of Godzilla, I think the Heisei Godzilla is the first thing that always comes to their mind.
You know, that's interesting that you make that point. I think for a lot of people that is the case, depending on, like, I think generationally. Because I know, like, say, people in the boomer generation, a lot, like, I think they grew up watching the Showa era films, so those are the ones they immediately think of. But I feel like people in our generation more so kind of connect with the beam spam angstiness of the Heisei Godzilla films.
Nobody messes with Heisei beam spam.
I know, right? We all drag on it, but I think deep down we all love it. Like, and let's admit it, we all
It's
love
like
it.
Godzilla Final Wars. You know it's bad, but it's also just so good.
Oh God, right? Like, it is atrocious. But I tell you what, when I see Mothra and Gigan battle, in the air, which that's like the first time we've ever seen that significantly in a Godzilla film. I literally get out pom-poms. I'm like, Mothra, Mothra, she's my girl. La la la.
Just have emergency pom-poms under your couch.
Basically, exactly. But like, I do love to drag on that film, but it's just nice to have like just innocent fun and just watch it. It's like somebody took Star Wars, Dragon Ball Z, and Godzilla and threw it all together in this hodgepodge of ridiculousness. A beautiful disaster. That's how I've described it. I'm really thinking about doing a review of it and posting it on the main site, because that would be the theme of the review. The beautiful disaster Godzilla film. But the truth is, like, we know the film ended up that way, largely because of the director. Like, he is very known for action movies, but in Japan. But I really think that they were wanting to do that was his 50th anniversary, right? They were wanting to they were wanting to do something very dynamic, and they wanted to throw all the eras together in some way and end on a big boom. And I think that's financially, it may not have ended on a big boom, but visually, I would say that it did.
Yeah, I think it's gained more love over the years, because I remember back in 2007 when I first finally got into Godzilla and stuff. Like, there was a lot of hate towards Godzilla Final Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think now, like, especially with X Plus making a bunch of stuff, like we got Kaiser Ghidorah and Monster X recently, there's a lot of... The fandom is much more warmer to at least the kaiju that appear in it.
Right.
So Griffin says, my friend who isn't into Godzilla ended up liking Final Wars.
That actually is a very interesting... It brought up a question that I didn't have before. If you are introducing a friend to Godzilla for the first time, what is your immediate go-to film to show?
I actually do have a Final Wars story myself.
Oh God, I can only imagine. By all means, share that.
Yeah, I was over at a friend's house, and like two of them weren't really that into the Godzilla. Like, they knew who he was, but they didn't really watch his films. And then there was another guy who was a pretty big fan, and we're just like, let's have beer and watch Godzilla Final Wars. And everyone just had a great time.
It's so campy that I think the campiness is what makes it enjoyable, right?
Oh yeah.
I think we watched it with the English dub too.
Even better. Honestly, my favorite character in that entire film is the Exilian second in command character, like the very ridiculous...
Oh god, so flamboyant.
I also think he's extremely attractive, and he was one of my first crushes. But probably was all that, leather outfit thing that he was wearing, but we won't go there.
In leather.
Right. We love aliens and leather. But I just there was an air of seriousness to the film, but the seriousness was very much disguised by hilarious dialogue and behavior. I think that's really what draws people in. Arpy asks, would you include a romance between Godzilla and Mothra in any of your fics? So, okay, that's an interesting question. Because I don't... Okay, so when I was younger, I would think about those things a little bit more, but now I don't think I would really do that. In my fiction, I really want Mothra and Godzilla to have an understanding of one another. I want them to be kindred spirits who care about each other's existence. I don't necessarily envision them having a romantic affiliation or anything like that, if that makes sense. That's just me, though. That's just me. If people choose to do that in their fiction, that's entirely up to them. And I won't lie, I've read fiction like that myself, and I've actually enjoyed some of that fiction, if it's well written, of course. But personally, I would rather focus on the humans having tawdry love affairs instead of the kaiju. Ellen, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, Griffin commented again, don't start with Shin Godzilla, that is for sure, which is what he did with his friend. I actually did invite a friend of mine who isn't too into Godzilla to see Shin on my second viewing in the theaters. And he enjoyed it quite a bit, so that's a little bit of contrast there.
I like that. I've used Shin Godzilla myself. The one that I use the most, I use the Kiryu Saga a lot. Like I always start with Godzilla against Mechagodzilla and then Tokyo SOS because I want people to see how awesome Mothra is in Tokyo SOS. But I also I like how both of those films build a connection to the original Godzilla film and the original Mothra film. I think it does a nice job kind of picking up where they left off. So it kind of gives newbies an idea of like the history a little bit. I also have used Godzilla Mothra Ghidorah All Out Monsters Attack a couple of times because it's delightfully grungy. But Maddie, how about you?
Yeah, actually, I I had some friends at my place like a few years ago, and I actually I first showed them Godzilla. Godzilla. Well, actually, well, I first showed them this, and then the original.
Both good selections. See, I've tried showing the original to people before, but I think a lot of people, when they see something in black and white, there's just like this disconnect that they have. It doesn't get to me really. Like I still love a lot of black and white films, but I know that people just kind of like they have like this negative association of black and white equates to boring, and I don't agree with it, which makes me sad. So granted, I have like I know there was a friend once, like I showed them the Kiryu Saga and we watched those two films, and then we went back and watched the original Godzilla film and then the original Mothra film, and they actually really enjoyed it having the context of those future films already, you know.
Yeah.
I think that modern fans have a hard time starting out because of that, like a negative association of black and white. But if they have like that context, I've found that they really kind of can build that in a little bit. Oh God, I've also used Godzilla vs. Biollante as a first. It hasn't always been successful because the movie obviously picks up where the Return of Godzilla leaves off, so they're kind of confused. They're like, wait, what happened? What happened in the prior film? And then I have to, go on like this explanation binge, giving them an idea of what happened. But so that's like, if I show them the Heisei series, I'm always like, we're gonna now start with the Return of Godzilla. Now, one mission that I am on is my mission is to get my partner to watch more Godzilla films with me. He's definitely not a Godzilla enthusiast like we are. He's watched the Matthew Broderick Godzilla film. He's watched the 2014 Godzilla film. Kong Skull Island. So he's watched like the MonsterVerse, and he likes those. And I've been trying to be like, hey, let's watch some Japanese Godzilla films. I've been trying to get him to watch Shin Godzilla, and I think he's kind of afraid of like subtitles or something. And I'm like, just power through it. It's worth it. Trust me.
Well, actually, in that case, I think Shin Godzilla might not be the best choice for the first Japanese Godzilla film, because that film's like loaded with text.
Yeah, I know. I've also wondered that too. I've been like, would that be a good idea? Would that be a bad idea? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of a slow reader myself, so it did take that second viewing for me to fully absorb the movie and then become the fanatic I am today.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah,
Well,
same here.
there's a lot to unpack in that film, and I've offered to view the dubbed version of it, because at least that's something, right? But I know that a lot of people also get really caught up in how like the lip movements don't match the sound being produced, and I'm just like, that's something you just get used to, you know. I'm at the point though where I don't often watch dubbed versions anymore. I'm one of those snobby people, of course.
Well, it's the same here.
Yay!
Yeah.
We're all snobby
We're all-
people. Good.
We're all the subtitle clan.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I still like at least some of the dubs, like the dub for Biollante, for example.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think some films do have like stronger like dubbing than others.
Yeah.
Like you can tell when you watch one like various movies when the dubbing was definitely half-assed. I've also seen that with subtitles too. Like subtitles aren't always 100% accurate either. And I'm trying to remember what film it was. I can't remember which film it was, but there was a film that I was watching where like the subtitles like they didn't make sense. I found one that had like grammatical errors and misspellings in it, and I'm just like, my inner English major is cringing right now. So we only have like a few minutes left. Wow, time flies when you're having good conversation.
Yeah.
So
and he's gone.
Okay.
I guess we'll have to pick up the slack for now. I don't know. Did you have anything else to say? I think I had something to say.
Sorry about that.
There we go.
Can you hear me again?
We thought the storm took you out.
No, I clicked the exit button accidentally. That's worse. I should have just said it's the storm's fault. But anyway, what were you saying, Ellen? I didn't want to cut you off.
No, I think I was just trying to remember what I wanted to add.
Oh, were you like when I got knocked out? Were you like, oh God,
what do we do?
Like, oh no.
Sorry. So I did have two questions for us to leave off on. The first question is, what is your least favorite Godzilla film and why?
Well, my least favorite is and I know that this might like anger some people, because this movie does have its fans. I know that, but if I had to choose, I would say all of Monsters Attack or Godzilla's Revenge.
Okay. Is it mostly like the audience that it targets, kind of like the campiness of it that is not something that's huge to you?
Well, maybe that, and also I think I don't think I ever got like that much into the story in it. I think.
It is hard to like if you can't relate to the story, it's really hard to invest oneself in that story. I can definitely see that. Helen, how about you?
I would have said the same about a year ago, but then I lost my train of thought there. Then I saw some arguments for it, like having a good anti-bullying message. So I do want to revisit that. So right now it's either Godzilla Raids Again or Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. Godzilla Raids Again, I watched once, and I barely remember anything. But I've been wanting to watch it again because I don't know what my opinion on that movie is. But Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, I do remember a bit more of that, and I don't really want to watch it again. The story just wasn't really engaging.
I personally prefer like the last half of that film. Like the first half is just really boring to me. But for me, my least favorite film is Godzilla Raids Again. 100% without hesitation. I will say that's my least. I have a couple reasons. Number one, I really feel like the story or plot is very disjointed. Like you don't get a lot of context. I can tell that it's very much rushed. Toho was really wanting to capitalize on the popularity of the first film, so they were like, let's churn out another one as quickly as we possibly can.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I thought it was kind of a misfire. That's just my opinion though. Griffin says Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla is his least favorite. The effects are the worst I've seen in a Godzilla movie.
The worst of Showa. I don't know. I think worse effects than I do like Mechagodzilla, so maybe I'm biased.
I do enjoy Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, mostly because I love the campiness of it, though. like a black hole gun. Like really, who would have thought of?
Get your black hole gun, guys.
Right. Like I thought that was really funny, but I thought it was a unique concept to say the least. So now the last question that I had was our favorites. So Ellen, what is your favorite Godzilla film and why?
Shin Godzilla. Actually, I think it's still a tie between Shin and Godzilla against Mechagodzilla.
Yes.
Shin, because I don't know. I might be in a cult that worships Shin Godzilla himself. I don't know. It's just
join the club.
It's basically perfect. And then Godzilla against Mechagodzilla is. I love the designs. I love Akane's characterization. Oh yeah, 54, as Griffin said, is another one that's like these are my S tier movies. Like Shin, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, and Godzilla 1954. But yeah, Akane has a great characterization. Like we just have really good characters in that movie.
I do agree.
Oh yeah.
I think they really stepped it up with the characters.
Yeah, Godzilla and Kiryu have just this really good dynamic, and that's part of why I have my username on KG.
Maddie, how about you? What is your favorite Godzilla film and why?
Well, now actually, I was expecting you to ask this next, so I got this out. I have 4 favorite Godzilla movies, and I'm gonna like list them from like from here and then to the top. So first up, Shin Godzilla.
Okay, good.
And then Godzilla against Mechagodzilla.
Yes.
Love this movie. And then 54,
Mhm.
and then my absolute favorite movie of all time, Mechagodzilla 74.
Excellent. So what makes that one stand out as your favorite beyond all the others?
Well, simply put, this was the first Godzilla movie I saw like ever.
Mhm.
So this movie like got me into this world of kaiju, and also this movie. Well, I guess you could say that this movie inspired me to become a filmmaker myself.
That's really cool. I like that sentimental connection. That's really interesting. For me, because I know we have to end here in a minute. For me, my favorites. I mean, I mentioned Godzilla versus Biollante is my favorite. Oddly, it's Biollante and not a Mothra film. I love it because that film, when I was a kid, scared the shit out of me. It like my dad brought it home and I watched it, and comparing it to all the Showa films that I had seen up until that point, that was a huge step in a different direction. And it took me like a year to watch that whole movie through because I found Biollante's final form to be just utterly horrifying to me. But now that I look back on it, it is so 80s. Like it capitalizes on the horror and practical effects that were very much a huge staple of the 80s. I love the music. I love the characters. Mickey Segusa is introduced to us. I just love that film.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And also, one of my favorite like human characters. Besides Akane is Gondo from that movie. I love that guy.
He was very much this kind of husky, like just this howdy doody military character, and I loved that too. I loved him too. Ellen, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I just had something to add when you said that Biollante scared you. Like, I still remember the dream I had, I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago now, where there were a bunch of kaiju that were redesigned to look absolutely horrifying, and Biollante was just like so chilling to look at.
Maybe
Like,
it could be like just the tentacle thing that freaks me out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I think we all know where this is going.
Oh no.
No, God, no, definitely not in that direction. The utter horror. But I would say that my other favorite, I do have a Mothra one that's tied with it. Tokyo SOS, I would say, is my other favorite. I love how it appeals to nostalgia. I love Mashiro Oshima's composition for that film, like the musical composition. I love how, like, I feel like Mothra was done more justice in that film than she was done in Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, a la Monsters Attack. Like, I feel like she got more exposure, had more of a character influence. So I would say that is tied for my favorite with Godzilla versus Biollante. So, well, alas, we have come to the end here. I really appreciate you joining me today, and I appreciate everybody in the chat joining as well. Don't forget, there is 2 other streams coming up. The next one coming up in less than 30 minutes is a poetry lecture of talking about kaiju poetry writing. So if you're interested in that, feel free to tune in. And then last but not least, I think about an hour after that, I can't remember off the top of my head, Ellen and I will be talking about creating your own original kaiju characters. So we'll have some fun doing that. And then that'll be the end of Kaiju Deep Dive. So if you were watching and you want to share this with anybody, feel free. Share it in Facebook groups, share it, subscribe to our channel, click like, all the usual stuff. Okay?
On a forum.
Or please join Kaiju Galaxy, please. We have a new forum. We have about 70 members. We're trying to kind of fill everyone back in gradually, so feel free to join us. I believe that I actually have the link below. If not, then I will put it in. Anyway, you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and ta-ta for now.
Bye.
Bye.